link. Live chat. Yep. Perfect. Perfect. Hello. Let me message out. Join it in our. And now. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. So we've got that going. I'm just waiting for go up at this point. I think Robbie might be guest starring with us. Got a fin there. Want to sit over? What if I would be in here? By the door. Oh. Okay. All right. Let me crack open my Dr. Thunder because I officially drank my last Dr. Pepper last night. Or today at some. All that good stuff. Okay. Almost there. And Finn says hi back. Welcome to the Couch Party Inc. status report or the Behind the Couch status report. One of the two. Now, we all right, so we're going to talk about I have a list of topics that I do want to talk about to make these a little bit more entertaining and not just the same thing over and over again. So we're going to go over what the project is, what the current project is, and what we're doing, what we're going to be doing for the next week. And then if my friends hop on, they're going to talk about their projects that they're doing, and then we're going to try to squeeze out some goals from them, as well as talk about a variety of topics for just things in general. Just, talk about stuff, I get to know you get to know me, all that good stuff. Okay, so in regards to the film, we are still on the same Tyranitar shot. Mainly my fault, procrastination, as well as just lack of motivation. But I did go through, and part of what I started doing, and what I'm going to carry on through next week is that when I do get home, all right, yeah, I'll take an hour doing the rotoscoping and the hard work, and then I'm going to spend the next hour just doing some kind of progress that's not doing some kind of work that isn't rotoscope. So, for example, what I did this last week was I would rotoscope, and then I would go and start doing the keying, getting rid of the backgrounds for the next few shots, mainly using the green chroma key effect. So, most of the shots have now been green screened outside of, I think, maybe 2. I have one shot specifically that it's two different two different elements in the same shot, so I have to do a lot more in terms of positioning. It's not just my character in the green screen. And then for the other one, it's like, okay, here's one take. The take ends because digital camera's gonna whip pan to the right, see something happen, whip pan back. We're in the next take. Something happens, go over shoulders out, and in dramatically for something far off in the distance, and then back out, and third take. So I have to stitch everything together in one shot. And on the timeline currently, it is like 3 different shots. So I have to. That one requires a lot more work. Well, the rest of the shots have been green screen. I think the only one that's giving me trouble is Mantine with the boat, but I got the initial green screen stuff done. The rotoscoping can wait for later. Yeah, and so that's kind of where we're at. So pretty much the same continuation of like I'm at least gonna try to get an hour in it a day. Try to just keep moving along, keep forward. Where are we at? So all right, VFX collaboration. So I've been thinking about sorry, I'm not good with segues. Well, no, I could have segued it. Okay, starting over. This is where the segue begins and ends. The VFX is a lot of fun because it's like the hard part is just the fact it's like I'm doing this on my own. And one thing to note is if you ever go and watch a movie, if you get the time, go watch something, anything, in the theater, and sit through the credits and actually read all of the job titles, right? When it gets to the VFX department, you have like matte paintings, so or background artists. So you have people who literally it is their job to make the background, right? The foreground, or I'm sorry, the background elements. Then you have another person who's in charge of making the digital set. Then you have another person who's in charge of the creature design, right? And so in something like with Tyranitar, you have one person who's in charge of the overall design. You have then another person that goes in and goes, okay, well now I have to turn this into a model. But with that said, then that turns into 3 different people because it's one person's job to do the muscle simulation, it's another person's job to do the skin texturing, it's another person's job to do the rigging to make the controls to animate it. So I'm doing all of those by myself, and so I've been thinking about, okay, well, one of the first things that I want to do, and I already have a plan for, and that I have most of a plan made up and then still developing because new ideas come in, and I'm like, ooh, how can I implement this? I'm prepared for whichever videos or whichever channel pops off and is what brings the main stream of income, or at least the first stream of income. Because it's like, let's say if my film channel does really well, which looks like it's going to, because like when we create a film and that film, especially if the last one got 2.3 thousand views, it's like, okay, yeah, another movie should be made. So if that's what's bringing in is the first to greenlight ad revenue and is raking in the views, well then, yeah, I'd like to get more people doing visual effects. Most of my storytelling comes with visual effects and fake backgrounds, and I want to really dive into what you can do in a warehouse or in a gym or backyard. So that's where a lot of my challenge comes in. And so whatever I can do to support the background stuff, because if that's the main thing that we do, then we should be doing it. But in the nitty gritty, it means I'm like, okay, well, what programs are we using to do certain things, right? So in terms of visual effects, I would have, we use HitFilm for layer-based compositing. So classic compositing is what I like to call it, even though it's like compositing goes way farther down to the point where it's like layering frames of film together. Crazy. But I use HitFilm, and when I bought HitFilm, it was at a point where you could buy the license. you could buy it outright. You would get updates for 365 days, and then after that, you wouldn't get updates anymore, but you still have the license to use that version of hit film that you were left on. So when I got it, it came with 3 copies, and 1 copy went to Mia, and because she had a YouTube channel, she was editing gaming videos on my channel, and then the other one I gave to Sky because he also was editing some gaming stuff for me, as well as it's just, hey, here's a better compositor to have on your computer if you need it for your film stuff, because he was going to film school, and then yeah, Mia has her book channel, and so I was like, okay, cool. That, and the reason why we did that was because it's like, if they were to make a video and go, hey, I'm struggling to get this out, and you finish it, absolutely, send me all of the elements you used in the project file. I have the program that'll automatically sync everything up together, and once you open that project file, I have exactly however you left it, and I can go in and then make adjustments. So, in terms of like filmmaking, she could make an edit for a film, send it over to me. I could then do a passover on it, and then send it to Sky, and he could do a passover on it. But as it stands right now, where was I going with this? As it stands at the moment, the issue is hit film now is, for the last time I checked, I haven't checked any time recent, but their program is now subscription based, so you're paying monthly for the service, and I need to go in and see how much that would cost to get it on more computers on our end, because it's like, I do have a list of people. Pull up the list right now, actually. I have a list of people who have helped me a lot, and it's like, I trust these people to help me out a lot more often, and so it's like, I want to be able to hire them on, or any friend or family, really. But the biggest hurdle that we're having is that I am doing it by myself, and how do we get everybody in on it? And so I would have to invest in, so getting like, let's say TJ computer, he really wants to learn Blender, and I'm super stoked for Blender because I guess they just released an update. I need to go look more into it. That now Blender is going to be multi-core, so I guess before, how the program ran, it would only use 1 core in your CPU, because I guess Blender is actually released in the 90s. I'm like, I don't know how accurate that is, but I'm gonna go. I'll do more research on it later. And so now it's gonna use however many cores it can utilize on your CPU rather than just 1 core, because I mean, back then obviously you didn't have a lot of cores, where now it's like, okay, yeah, some people have like a 12 core processor or some shit. I mean, something. But the yeah, sorry, I'm still waking up. I had a late night last night. So I got TJ who wants to learn Blender, which is super part of the, and you can composite in Blender, but Blender is free. So that's kind of like the thing where it's like, okay, if we get to this point, do I continue using HitFilm, or do I switch over to a new program? He's already currently learning that program. That's free. It's really hard for me because I like HitFilm. I use it all the time. I think it's super affordable, like what you have to pay for to get it. And especially since it's like, I essentially made I think it was like a $400 purchase, because they wait until Cyber Monday because they have really good deals, and then we've been using it ever since. Like, I think I made that one $400 purchase back in 2020 maybe, and now it's 2025, and I haven't had to put any more money in, and it works amazingly. And I do have some crash issues, but usually it's because I'm running too many to begin with. But yeah, it's hard because it's like, well, HitFilm's not the industry standard, and as somebody who is trying to get a VFX job at some point, because that's kind of my plan, is that I want to get into making. This is just my outlet until I can actually get that job. but I don't have an education. I don't have a experience with it, so I just make things until I can't. So that's how that works. But yeah, it's kind of tricky. And then we all live in different areas, right? We don't have a centralized like studio to like, hey, I'm gonna hand you, I'm gonna send this file to your computer. So we would have to utilize again, layer compositing for stuff. So like, let's say if we wanted to do like right now with this Pokemon film, right? The main issue that I'm having is just rotoscoping. So it's like I would want to take, and I honestly think rotoscoping is one of like the first VFX tricks you need to learn, because fundamentally that's going to be like your bread and butter for a lot of things, because at the end of the day it's like, all right, well, I gotta rotoscope frame by frame or animate this thing frame by frame, because that's all rotoscoping is. It's just a animated mask. And so learning how that works, I think, fundamentally helps you understand visual effects a lot, because that is what you're going to be doing. Lightsabers, lasers, whatever. You're probably going to have to animate that manually anyway. But while he's doing that, okay, cool. Well, if he's doing the rotoscoping on hit film, on his computer, I can go on my computer and I can just solely focus on the rendering, right? So I'll go work on this, or vice versa. Or let's say if maybe we want to do, okay, have 36 shots and there's 2 of us, okay, I'll pick 12, you pick 12. And then we could do like a bidding thing where it's like, because I believe that's actually how it kind of does work, is that like I've heard VFX people call it bidding. Like you as a VFX company, you bid on which shots you want to do or something like that, or you're hired in to do a very specific thing. Like, I'm pretty sure 1942 they bring that company in for water simulations, because it's like I've only ever seen their banner for their company pop up for like Pirates of the Caribbean, or there was another one. I want to say Percy Jackson. I want to say that they did Percy. Now I gotta go Google it. Okay, it's not popping. But anywho, yeah. So like so it could be like a, hey, which shot do you want? And I think I'll probably do that anyway, because I've learned, hey, people are gonna want to try something new. So if I were to have a VFX team, I would go, okay, these are the shots. These are the we'll take turns. I have a thing called a Tiny Decision Maker on my phone, or Tiny Decision, something like that. And my I'll just use that app to sort of basically figure out who's gonna go first, and then go down the list. Texted me on it. My sister. A funny thing. Anyway, yeah, so I'm one of the it's one of those things you don't know until you get there, kind of a situation. Like, I know with once my friends have the ability to tell me what they want to do and what they want to learn, that's kind of where I'm like gonna come in and be like, cool, that's going to be the focus of the project. What's a project we can learn that, and then kind of go forward. But it does look like TJ definitely wants to learn how to do this kind of stuff as well. So even if it's as simple as like I get a second computer, set it up in here somehow, if we can raise enough money on the Patreon, I could buy him a new computer. I would love to do that. That'd be cool. That's something I want. Like, can't wait as the person that does YouTube stuff. Like, once the YouTube channels can start raking in money, I can start buying people's stuff, so then that way they can also use their stuff to make their own projects. Yeah, it's gonna be super. But in the meantime, do what I can here. I work 2 day jobs, so I gotta. Well, I have a day job and a night job, or weekend job technically. However you want to call it, doesn't matter. The point is, there's at minimum 2 jobs. Volunteer, and vice versa. But at my job, I had to go, and I really go above and beyond. Sometimes I gotta learn how not to do that, because it's like, on one hand, my energy gets so spent at work that I don't have energy when I get home. But I've been very like, so I work in the electronics department in a store, and one of the fun things I've been doing recently, and I try to do this as best as I can. I like to educate parents on video games, especially when it comes to the Xbox controversy stuff. That one has been very crazy. Sorry. Woo! Soda. But to how do I explain this? For those of you who don't know, Roblox is getting a lot of scrutiny on how it deals with child predators on their platform, and it's crazy because it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like if you aren't in the know, or if you haven't done your work as a parent, you have no idea this stuff exists. And I know this because I was the kid that got away with some of the stuff growing up, mainly because it's like, with my diagnosis, it was very easy for my mom to say, hey, don't do this thing, this is why I don't want you to do it. And I'm like, cool, here's the thing you want me to do, you've given me a really good reason not to do it, I won't do the thing. So when we had that conversation about internet safety, that was a very easy conversation. And so when you have me who follow the rules, where it's like, okay, yeah, like I was able, like my sisters would get mad at me because they're, and one of my sisters tried to rat me out. They're like, oh, well, Luke has like a, I'm 13. He's like, well, he has a 20-year-old friend on Xbox or something. And then my mom gave me a look, and I'm like, yes, it's a friend of a friend. It's my cousin's friend, actually. And so, he's vetted by him. That person has also never asked me this question, this question, this question, and this question. He only knows me by my screen name. I only know him by his screen name. By the time I was 16, we ended up trading real names because we didn't give a shit anyway. Like, at that point, I think it had been like 3 years, so not good. He wasn't gonna do anything. But the youngest one, she had issues with online constantly throughout, and so with her, that was we tried to drill online safety in her. That didn't really work, but it was very apparent that this is one of these websites where it's like, people come here because it's malicious, and now they're gonna go try to be malicious. So I've just been educating parents because, like, I've had people come up to me and they'd be like, hey, where are your Robux cards? And I'm like, they're over here. However, do you know about the controversy? And then somebody's grandma looked at me. She's like, no. What controversy? And I'm like, well, this is the games that they've just added to Roblox because it's community-made games. And now it's getting to a level where they're getting into legal trouble because of this. This is a huge problem, and it's been a huge consistent problem. She's like, and then she straight up told me, she's like, I did not know that. It's for my granddaughter, but I will talk to her mom. And, okay, cool, perfect. And I'm like, and I had a dad kind of give me a weird look because I told him the same thing when he came asking. He's like, hey, where are the Robux cards? And I'm like, they're over here, but do you know about the controversy? And, he pretty much nailed it on the head. He's like, oh, is it, child predator stuff? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, cool, yeah, no, we're, I don't remember what he gave. I know I wasn't satisfied with the answer, because it was a very brushing me off kind of a thing, where it's like, you're some 20-year-old working in electronics, why are you telling me how to parent? And I'm not telling you how to parent, I'm just letting you know, hey, this is going on in this game that you obviously are letting your kids playing, I can connect the dots there because you wouldn't ask for Roblox currency if they hadn't done this. But I, who am an older brother of 4 stepchildren and biological children, as well as an uncle of 5 nieces. One of them is technically like my 3rd cousin or something, but she's young enough where I'm like, you're my niece. I am Uncle Yuke, according to most. But I take it very seriously. I do not like this stuff to happen. And then 2 little cousins who, again, I view as my little brothers. They play a lot of Fortnite. So yeah, I get very I do have opinions. At the same time, it comes from just this whole standpoint of I have people I want to protect too. They don't have to be directly from my loins for me to want to protect them. I want you to at least do your due diligence because at the same time, it's like I have to deal with kids who are not socially regulated. VR chat is a huge place where it's like the people shouting the worst slurs are the youngest majority. And so there's a whole level of on one hand, I have to deal with your kids one way or another because they either will kick my butt in a video game or yell at me in a video game with the voice chat because you decided to give a 4-year-old a microphone. But B, I don't like those people, so I am going to do my due diligence as a civilian and a gamer and an older brother and come up to you and be like, hey, I see you're buying this currency for this game. Do you know about this? Because it's one thing if you know about it, you're monitoring it, you're watching your kid do the thing, do all of that, and then you go in and turn around. You talk to them about online safety and what that means, and that's fine, 100% okay. That's up to you. How you want to do it after I've told you and given you information, because that's all I'm doing is that, hey, not telling you what to do, not telling you how you should go about it, but I just want to keep you in the loop, right? Kid spends all of this time here. If you're not paying attention to it, I want to make sure that, or not that if you're not paying attention to it, but if you have not already heard it, I want you to have that information to make an educated decision. So, look it out for my fellow gamers. Which, gamers, what the hell? Last week, I was going to update you guys. Alright, it was dropping off about the GameCube and the GameCube stuff. And here is essentially the update of where we're at, okay? Now, I have notes, right? Understand, I have notes. Stupid. The stupidest thing of stupid that I've ever seen in my life. If you're gonna do a console repair, before you head in, maybe get a quote from 5 different people first. Now, I learned this lesson the hard way, mainly because I have fallen into the trap and idea of, game consoles are going to be a little bit more complicated or a little too specific, right? Not every electronic repair guy is going to be able to do. Turns out, after going to Reddit, a lot of people do a lot of different things. And so you just there is a person who can fix the machine you need fixed, or there's YouTube. You can look it up yourself. Electronics and computers are not as scary as you think. Just, follow instructions carefully and clearly. Watch the whole tutorial before you start. But anywho, a few weeks ago, I believe it was July 21st. Right, so this is back in July. So quickly pulling up a calendar here. It has been 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. Because yeah, today is what did I just say? The 17th. Yep. So 1, 2, 4. Yep, 4. Tomorrow will have been 4 weeks. where I have not had my game console because, and I won't mention the company name right now because they still have it. They basically, what happened was it came down to he calls it a miscommunication. So the boss of this company who I've called, I went in and I was like, hey, my GameCube sometimes doesn't want to play the game. Now, from my experience of working on the GameCube, I would notice that if I were to take a Q-tip, just a dry Q-tip, and dust off the lens, it would work. It would work for a good long period of time, and then it would play games, it would start, and then stop playing the game. I also noticed the eject button that opens the flap GameCube and closes it. When I close it, that button doesn't come back up. It gets stuck, which tells me, okay, the GameCube is probably dirty. I've had it for years. I've never actually been able to like sit there and clean it and do all of that. So I was like, it probably just needs a cleaning. I'm too busy doing the VFX on my film and working all that I am, so I'm just going to take it to this company. They're on the way to work. Stop. And then hopefully pick it back up before the weekend, because at the days off I want to go play Pokemon Leaf Green on my GameCube because I have the Game Boy player. Now, a week goes by and I haven't heard anything, so I go in and he's like, "Oh yeah, we need to buy a new part." And I said, "Okay." And my questioning in my head, I'm like, "Why didn't you call me as soon as you found out?" Like, I feel like this process would go much faster if you came forward with information. And at the end of the day, I was told you were going to reach out to me when it was ready for pickup. It's been a week. You said it was going to be done on July 26th. Why haven't we talked about it? And then they wanted to charge me for the part. Now, the problem that I had was that I came in for a cleaning. The guy upcharged me and was like, hey, let's do the $75 fix. If I'll clean it, if that fixes it, no problems. I'll refund you the $25. You only have to pay for the cleaning. But if it doesn't fix the problem, cleaning it will tell me what the problem is. And so let's do the extra 25 and then I'll just go ahead and fix it for you. And I was like, okay, cool. That sounds good enough for me. Let's do it. Well, now he's like, okay, well, now we have to buy a part. Now, hold on. And then I told him, I'm like, you didn't tell me anything about the possibility of buying a new part. Had that been on the table and that information been given to me from the beginning, hey, by the way, we'll be fronting any part costs to you, I would have declined the service, said, just clean it. If it doesn't fix it, oh well. At that point, I will take it in myself, because I had already came in and they fixed an original Xbox. I had bought it on Facebook Marketplace for, I think, $60, and it didn't work. And I was like, okay, well, let's take it in and get it cleaned, because I bet you that's probably what the problem is. Because everything that I Googled and did on my own, because I also would like to point out, I have a certificate in information technology. I went to school to try to fix computers, and the only reason I never got certified was because the wording on the test threw me off so much, because it's always, well, what's the right answer? But all the answers are correct. And so they're like, no, we want the better answer. And it's like, okay, but that's not what you're asking. Anywho, so we get to this point, and so he's like, listen, we haven't bought the part yet, so we're not going to charge you. We'll send you a quote, and then you can look at the price, and then tell us, yes, you want to go through with it? You pay us the money, and then so on and so forth. Then I said, okay, cool. So it's like, you can look at it, and then you can decide whether or not you want to pay for the service or do something else. I said, okay, that's fine with me. Let's do that. Well, another week goes by, and I'm like, okay, what the heck? Like, I haven't heard anything. Like, I should have gotten a quote by now. Like, what's going on? So finally, I get a hold of their boss, and I'm like, hey, I'd like an update on my, and he does everything through Instagram, by the way. So I go through Instagram and I'm like, hey, just was wondering about the quote, which then he responded with, oh, I didn't know we still had it. And I'm like, what do you mean? How do you not know that we still, you still have it? So I'm like, so this entire time it's been sitting in pieces somewhere in a box for a week and no one's worked on it. No one's looked for a quote. Nobody's looked for a part. And I'm out of my GameCube. Like, what's going on? So then he finally sends me a quote 3 days later. $79. I believe it's $79.90 plus tax. Plus tax was in there. And so I said, okay. And I said, that's too expensive. At that point, I would have spent $154 total. I had already been in the market for a GameCube regardless. And, you know, just eyeballing stuff. Because at the same time, it's like, I'm a big fan of this console. A lot of my favorite games came out for the GameCube. So I'm sitting here like, okay, well, let's... You know, this one's giving me issues, and there's a good chance that it's like, I might have to buy a new one anyway. So I was eyeballing stuff, and I found one that I liked for $130. And so I was like, I cannot... And I told him, like, hey, thank you for the quote. I can't justify that price for the part and how much I've already spent in total for this console. So I'm going to go ahead and decline your service. I'm off at this time. I'd like to be able to pick up my GameCube ready for me. That's great. And then he goes, do you want to talk? And I'm like, oh, Lord. So through text, he is trying to convince me to pay for, and I sure I told him, I'm like, look, if I wanted to purchase a refurbished GameCube, I would have bought a refurbished GameCube. What you were charging me is more than what it would cost to buy a refurbished GameCube complete with controller and cables. I don't think that's, you know, I don't think a repair should be more than 60% of a brand new, or, you know, brand new console, right? And so, and that's just my personal philosophy. As a consumer, I'm allowed to have those. And if you... And at the same time, your guy said it was completely fine for me to look at that quote and then make the decision. This is the decision I've made. This is not your property at the end of the day, so why are we effing arguing about it? And I told him, I just want my stuff. Like, okay, well, it's in pieces, and my guy isn't going to come in until Thursday. Okay, so then Thursday comes around, and I get a phone call. And again, this is over the last 4 weeks, guys. So I get a phone call, and then he goes on and on about, he's like, well, I know that you said that, you know, you wanted it back, but we really want to help you out, and da-da-da. And I'm like, dude, I just want my stuff back. So at the end of the phone call, he made a comment about paying for the part. And I said, okay, for clarification, does that mean you are paying for the part and you are not charging me any extra for what I've already charged? Or for what I've already been charged? And he says, like I said, we're going to help you out. Now, me, I'm like, I'm pretty positive I asked a yes or no question, and that was not a yes or no answer. And so I was like, okay. He's like, it'll be done by Saturday. I'm like, all right, well, Saturday was yesterday. So after work, I went in, talked to his tech guy. I said, hey, where are we at? He's like, oh, my boss is still sourcing out a part. And I'm like, excuse me? He's like, yeah. I'm like, and I told him, I'm like, look, I'm not going to, what has he told you? Because he's clearly not communicating with you, and he's clearly not communicating with me very well. So what the hell is going on? And so, because I told him, I'm like, your boss sent me a quote with screenshots of what the part was and where it was coming from. So how do you, what do you mean, right? And that's the thing is that, like, and then they want to use words like, we're sourcing a product, and we're sourcing the part. And I'm like, okay, either you bought the part or you did not buy the part. I think the one of the big things that I was taught in IT school is that, like, when you communicate, you have to assume that the other person doesn't know what we're talking about. You need to communicate it in a way that makes sense. And sourcing is just it's fancy lingo to talk, to make it sound like you know what you're doing and the other person doesn't. And that's something that also triggers the crap out of me. Is not like it when people out of me is if I don't know anything. Listen, bud. You either bought the part and it hasn't come in yet, or you have the part and you haven't fixed it. I'm a little frustrated because he told me it would be ready by the end of today. And now I'm finding out you haven't worked on it, the part still isn't here, and he's not even telling you, because then I told him, he said that you were going to be the one to call me. And he's like, well, he did not tell me that. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, then you could see my problem. So my biggest problem is with this guy's boss. Now I'm back here, still don't have the GameCube, and this has been going on for 4 weeks. And part of that reason and part of the reason why I'm frustrated is that, like, I really liked these guys before any of this happened, right? I bought Pokemon Coliseum and XD Gale of Darkness, and I want to play them on the channel for you guys. It's going to happen. It's in the works. The other half of it is this very next video. So right now you guys have the Pokemon film coming out. Right after that is my perfect Pokemon video game essay, what I think should be in a Pokemon game, what I would like a Pokemon game to be about. And so part of the lead up to that is I would like to get footage, because I don't want to take people's footage from their YouTube channels. Because even though I'm sure a lot of them would be like, if I credit them properly and their name shows up on the screen and you know exactly what channel I got the footage, there's no doubt in my mind that they would enjoy that. But there's a few that would that could very much go, screw you for using my content, you didn't ask, I don't care if you credited me, screw you, I don't want to deal with that. So at the same time, I want to play on my gaming channel more. I like my gaming channel, it's fun. But the footage I need to get, as well as the games that I want to play, some of them are on the GameCube. Some of them I cannot screen record without said GameCube, like the GBA Pokemon games. So I was really hoping to get that back, preferably as soon as possible, because I feel like what's going to happen is once we get through the Tyranitar scene, it's going to go boom, 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 boom. Because this is exactly what happened to me on the last film with Piplup, where it's like, it took me forever. Like, it took me like 2 to 3 weeks, I think, to animate the Piplup scene and get that shot done. But the moment that was done, it was just like, each scene after that, 3 days tops. Boom, boom, boom. And then we just... and I wanted to... Once we got through these next 5 videos is that I was going to look into, well, how does sponsored content look? How do you go about doing that? And so, I've learned you can, as a YouTuber, ask for sponsorship. You don't have to wait for people to come to you. You can go to them. You can knock on their door. So what I wanted to do was, with every video that we have on the slate, we're looking at, okay, well, what sponsor would be good for this? And since I was going to be playing Pokemon Coliseum as a live stream anyway, a live stream series, I was going to go talk to their boss and be like, hey, would you be willing to sponsor our channel? We would throw a commercial in there, and I had a whole plan where I was like, hey, for the live streams, I have these commercial breaks that I do for when I have to go to the bathroom, whenever. I would come in, make an ad for you guys, so that ad would go on your social medias, and you could use it however you want. That same ad will go on my live streaming commercial breaks, so whenever I have to like step away and I hit the button, not only are people going to see the film trailers to my stuff, but they're going to see your guys' shop, right? And then on top of that, it's like, and at the beginning of every stream where I'm using your product, at the beginning it would be like, this video is, this series is brought to you by da 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 da. And so and now I don't want to do that. I don't want to, because that was such a crappy experience talking to different people who repair stuff like this. And to be fair, it's Reddit. I went to a Reddit thread and I put in what I was talking about. Because the one thing I've learned with Reddit, yes, it is a cesspool full of delinquents, and you're gonna find that in all of like the franchisee chats. But if you go to, or the fan franchisee chat, so like the Pokemon chat, whatever. r/Pokemon is the worst. I hate them. When you go to something like r/Crealty 3D printing or r/ I fix things, whatever, those are hobby chats, and so most people are there who actually want to help you with your problem and try to help you diagnose it and do that. And so I went in going, hey, for those of you who offer this as a service, as a storefront, how do you go about it? And so they get back to me, and then they say, yeah, well, this is why this is how I do it, this is how I price it, and this is how we handle these types of situations. Really weird that this is happening to you. And so it makes me never want to work with these people again. And I say people, but this one dude is the real answer. Like, his employees are great. I haven't had an issue with any of their employees. I could see the look on their faces that they're also getting frustrated with the situation, because it's just like they understand I'm growing extremely pissed. And it's not any of their fault. Like, their boss is dropping the ball in terms of communication and all of this, that, and the other. So it's like, yeah, not only did you lose a customer who is a very vocal person. I do not like being treated in this way. I don't like being taken advantage of. I don't like things getting dragged on. It makes me not trust anybody else. And eventually I'm going to go take my money somewhere else. Like how I went and got this. Hard to see because all the things in front of it and sitting on top of it, but people don't quit jobs, they quit managers. Exactly. It's like I took my money and I went somewhere completely different, and for the best. Honestly, the reality is I was going to do this anyway had the cleaning failed, and I would have had a GameCube where talking to my buddy William, I want to do a video where I fix it. And it sounds like they're still going to. They're just very much like, oh, at the end of Thursday, of this coming Thursday, it should be done. Because the part comes in Wednesday. And I said, okay, like, fantastic. But had I gotten it back and broken, I was going to work with William and 3D print a special Zelda GameCube case, because the case is chipped, so it needs a new one, as well as the new parts. So then that way we can just fix a GameCube and have fun with it. But the other half of that was going to be, well, if I have one that's already working, that's base model, and now I have a second one, well then cool, why don't I just mod the second one and try my hand at that? So that could easily had been done, but that is the GameCube situation. But yeah, I want to play a lot of it. Yeah, I want to play more video games on the channel. I have a list of the ones that I want to play. I really want to get into one. I'm just trying to find a squad for it. Is Peak. I know I'm definitely late to the game, 100%, and that's usually how it goes. Is that I'm usually very late to video game trends, like Repo and Lethal Company. Like, I only have I think 2 Lethal Company videos. I think I have one live stream of us playing the base game and then another one of us playing the modded game. But I do want to play Peak, and one of the things that just showed up on my TikTok this morning was a skeleton mod for Peak. It's super cool. It's basically what it does is it connects to a centralized server of other people who have the mod, and it keeps track of where they died, and then will put their skeleton where they died. So as you are now climbing up the mountain, you can visually see where people failed, and it kind of gives you a warning like, hey, this spot looks like it's a really tough spot. There's a pile of bodies right here, you know? So, but then as the mountain regenerates for the next day, it wipes away the skeletons and then starts over. So it's I think that's a pretty handy, cool mod. I kind of want to get it and try it. Because I was wondering about Peak and what mods that they would add, stuff like that. But I definitely want to play. I know Sky has it. I know my cousin Jason has it. So if I could just get everyone together, I think with just us 3, still be pretty good. I know Robbie's been wanting to get on the gaming stuff, and so I might get it for. Not gonna lie, I kind of want to give Peak another chance. My brother in Christ, thank you. Um, yeah, I definitely, I want to try it. I like the moment I saw it, like, and I'm a big fan of Smitty. I saw him do it first, and a lot of the games I want to play are games that he's played because they just look like a crap ton of fun. But the Peak is definitely one of them because the whole idea of like, yeah, you have to work together and stay together, and the proximity chat, and just of course, you know, somebody's gonna fall off the mountain and go ah, and then you're gonna hear them fall off. Oh, that's gonna be so funny. I want to play Peak. I haven't tried it yet. Okay, cool. Ace wants to play Peak. Perfect. Then there you go. So I definitely have people just planning a day and doing it. Yeah, it's just hard with all the projects. It's like, cause yeah, I am kind of like doing things by myself, so it just does make it really difficult. And so like, I have footage for Goofy Gorillas that needs to get edited and put out there. I have footage of Human Fall Flat recently with Brandon and Jarrett that needs to get edited and put out there. I'm trying to wrap my head around to like just collect footage and keep the stuff organized and then get to it when you can. Because my problem right now is like, yeah, I'm working on this film, it's taking forever, but it's like I don't know if I'll ever get to this footage. And especially right now with how long the film is taking, I have to, starting September, put the film on the back burner and fix up my clone trooper and go on a troop so I could stay in the 501st. And I either am going to cut the whole video in its entirety and just say I'm not making that video, it's just not worth it right now, or at least collect the footage to go edit the video later. Because I was very adamant that that would be the next footage on the plot, or at least go, hey, I'm going to film this, have the footage, put it in a folder, and then when we get to the times where it's like, all right, we're gonna go select the next 5 videos. Oh, cosplay really popped off, we're gonna need to make another cosplay video. It's like, okay, I have the footage right over here. We could do that, and then now I don't have to shoot it. I could just go edit that together, boom, have an episode by the end of the week. So I think it's you know, I'm trying to load up the chamber and get ready to fire it, so that way when it's time to fire it, I don't have to load it up. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of where it's like I need to go. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah, no, but Peak is definitely on the. And that's pretty much all the topics I got for today. So what's going on with you guys? What are some of the videos that you guys have seen on the channel and you're like, I want to see more of it? I know, Ace, you've now dived into the gaming live streams. How have those been? Have you been enjoying that? I know we were a Zelda channel for like a good year and a half. Like that's all I did for a while. Which is crazy. Like it was like we got to the end of Tears of the Kingdom and I was like looking at like the upload date of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity Part 1. And I was like, how long have we been doing this? And I'm like, oh my god, it's been almost a year. This is what I've been doing every week for a year. Holy crap. And it's like, and I still got more Zelda stuff too, because I bought Skyward Sword, still hadn't played it. Oh, you know what? That was one of the funny moments at this week. But I had a parent come in and I was pushing product and I was listening this kid try to convince, and it's funny because it's like I had a whole PTSD flashback of me saying the exact same to my mom over Halo when I was a kid, because he wasn't allowed to play it. So from what I learned is that the kid wasn't allowed to play it. Mom was like, well, how does the game play? Are you just shooting people? What happens when you shoot them? Do they bleed out? Like, which I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, Mom, at some point you have to go do the research on the game, right? Like, you need to fact check your kid. Number one, not that I don't think you shouldn't trust your own children, but I think, I definitely lied to my mom. She's like, can you turn off the blood? I was like, sure. No, in Halo Reach, you cannot turn off the blood. And then Black Ops 2 had a setting that you could make the heads not explode in Call of Duty Zombies, but there'd be like this frame skip thing when you did that, and so it wasn't good for you if you wanted to keep it, because it messed with the fluidity of the game timing. But she's like, does it require an internet connection? And the kid's like, well, you don't have to. And I'm like, and that's what I stepped in, and I totally ratted this kid out, which I don't regret. I sure told the mom, I'm like, Miss, Fortnite requires an internet. Like, technically, yes, you can have private lobbies. You can make sure that, you can make sure that you don't team up with strangers. But at the end of the day, you are fighting strangers in the base matches, in the main battle royale game mode. But you have to have an internet. Yeah, I'm not in. No, you're not going to be forced. What about Zelda? And so then she asked me about Skyward Sword and Link's Awakening, and I told her, I'm like, well, these are the two differences of the games. I told her, I have yet to play Skyward Sword. I really want to. I own it. I'm ready to play it. And I played Link's Awakening, and I thoroughly enjoyed it all the way through. And so they ended up buying Skyward Sword. It was just really funny to watch. Okay, like, on one hand, I was like, all right, parent, you need to do your own research a little. But at the end of the day, I'm like, but you are making sure that, to an extent, your kid understands why we don't play this game. We play this instead. This is why we're playing Zelda and not Fortnite. I was like, I really liked that part of the actions. Good on parents. Next generation is going to be far less iPad babies. Thank God. I was asleep for most of them. That's fair. That is why one of our leading tags is ASMR. I'm not even kidding. I can go into, not in the couch party thing, dashboard. However, go to a get views, comment. Yeah. Somewhere in here, beach. YouTube search terms. So there is if you can get a certain amount of views, there's a certain area that says YouTube search terms, and so it'll show you what people are searching and how you're showing up. ASMR was something that was coming up in our gaming videos, especially like the live streams, and so I was like, oh, people are watching this to just have on in the background because they just like how it sounds. So we started putting that stuff in there. Ooh! We have a thumbnail test completed section. Okay. This information gives me nothing. Okay. So I have a video here that got 8 views. I don't know. It's kind of hard. So let's try this again. There's a new feature, and I think this is really cool. You could put 3 thumbnails in it. YouTube will go through the 3 and figure out and show it to different audiences and see which ones get clicked on, and that tells it which thumbnail worked the best. And so one of the tests finally ended, but that video went live August 3rd, right? So the point is, it's not giving me any information. I'm like, well, how many views did it get? Well, okay, it got 7. So 7 people clicked on it. What I wish it would tell me is, even though, yes, it was only 7, how many of them clicked on the Rotoscoping Sucks thumbnail, and how much of them clicked on the Rocky Tyranitar thumbnail? And it says that thumbnail 1 was is the one that got picked, but it doesn't tell me the watch time share from the thumbnail, and I think there just wasn't enough data. But it's for a status report video, so I can't tell. I don't know. Status report is mainly, okay, yes, you've been here. You're very interested in where we're going and how we're doing it. This is what you're what you watch for that. Great. Fantastic. It's not meant to be like, I need these views to get 100 views or we're gonna die. Like, that's just not gonna. Whereas the views I am looking for is like the the Mando visits Woods Elementary. That got 928 views. The main Mandalorian video, The Road to Cinco de Mando, has 29 views. Right? Those are the views that I'm kind of looking for. Tells me a lot when it's like, okay, well, what if a status report skyrockets? What does that mean? That kind of cool stuff. Anyway, sidetrack. I'm still very tired. I didn't go to bed till maybe like 1, 2 in the morning. But yeah, ASMR podcast stuff. So more talkie and less. I guess not hyper edits. I don't call it hyper editing. If you've watched our gaming channel, you know, funny moment compilations for the most part, funny compilations and let's plays. But it sounds like, yeah, people want more let's plays and live streams and more kind of like podcasty radio show type of content. Which is fine by me. I don't have a problem with that at all. It gives me an excuse to go play games that I definitely want to sit down and play. Like, I'm very, very excited to do X-Men Legends. That one I'm super stoked for. And then I definitely, since we're talking about Pokemon Coliseum and the stadium games, Battle Revolution being my favorite, I really want to try this. Part of me wants to do the Pokemon Ribbon Master Challenge. And that one I'd be playing a lot of different Pokemon games for that series. But it would be pretty cool to But again, those are Let's Plays. I'm sitting down, I'm playing those for hours, right? And then we'll have doing summary story time videos similar to like Jaded and Russian Badger. I then use my cosplay and visual effects knowledge to do that in live action. And, then you're getting more live action Pokemon content. And it looks like that might, and honestly, I think after watching Totodile Hunter 1 and seeing how many views that got, and we'll see the numbers once Totodile 2 comes out, but if Totodile 2 for sure, does really well and clears 1,000 views, that tells me people really do want live action Pokemon content. Like, that's not a thing that you're getting. I think in the Pokemon content space, you're getting a lot of movie. I kind of want to say movie type content. It's like, or not movie type content. How do I explain this? I know I was sitting there when Jaden did her Nuzlocke Platinum video. I was like, please do one for every game. I'm like, I would love to see how your Nuzlocke for Fire Red and Leaf Green went. I'd love to see your Nuzlocke on this. And then, and we pretty much got 2 of like the formulaic ones. Like, you had Emerald, that did really well. So then her next big thing was like, okay, let's go do Platinum. Same exact video, verbatim, outside of like because of the story differences in the games, the Pokemon you can meet, and the scenarios you get into. But it's this challenge, exact same rules, just in another game. And then when she did the third one and ended the trilogy with a Heart Gold and Soul Silver Soul Link Nuzlocke, that was also a randomizer on top of that. I was like, yo, that's awesome. So, and that covered Johto. So I very much am like, yeah, I would like to see her do more of that. But I'm also like, I've always wanted to see Pokemon done as a live action anime. And so I'd like to try to bring that. A lot of Totodile Hunter is in preparation for that, because it's like, yeah, I would love to do another Nuzlocke and then find a story to make with it and then make it into like one long movie and put it out on YouTube. I feel like that'd be sick. But yeah, that's where we want. Well, it's already 1 p.m. so I'm gonna go ahead and end the live stream / podcast, however you want to look at it. Hopefully next week I can get more people on and we can have a genuine conversation. If you liked the video, go ahead, like and subscribe. If you're new here, you want to check out anything else that we have been doing, go check out the rest of this channel. Check out all of the videos we have linked in the different descriptions and stuff. I make films and DIY and gaming, so if you're into any of that, check us out. And it tells me what people want to see. So, with that said, I hope everybody has a good day and has a good week. We will see how far I get. Hopefully, I can get Tyranitar done by the end of the week. The rotoscoping has gone pretty far. There's not much left to do. So I'm hoping to at least get all of my necessary elements and be close to finishing the composition for the first Tyranitar shot. So have a good day, everybody.